We've been telling you about that AGL, Australia's biggest and oldest energy producer, will stop generating electricity using coal by 2035. That's 10 years sooner than previously planned. Our business editor, Ross Greenwood, is with me now. And Ross, you've been talking to the interim chief executive at AGL as well.
No, I have today, and so we'll bring that to you in full on Business Now. But one of the important aspects of this is the fact that it will close down the Loy Yang A power station, one of Australia's biggest power stations, and it will close it almost 10 years early. So the plan from AGL announced today is it will be out of all coal-fired power stations by 2035. So as I say, that Loy Yang A power station 10 years earlier, it will also commit to invest some $20 billion in total across the grid, in particular in renewable energy projects in that time. The interesting part about this, though, is the actual consistency of Australia's electricity grid. Now, that means, will we as consumers ultimately have to pay more? Will industry be competitive? So I put that to Damien Nicks, the interim chief executive of AGL today. Here's a little of what he said.
Look, importantly, this work has all been about really understanding that, and modelling the complexity of where we think the customer needs of the future are going to go to. So this future portfolio is based on that. It's based on what renewables we're going to need, but also what firming capacity, such as batteries and new forms of technology, are going to be required to meet the demands of customers. A lot of customers are going to be electrifying over the coming years, so this portfolio, we believe, will absolutely deliver that for our customers.
So, Ross, where does this leave AGL's biggest shareholder, Mike Cannon-Brookes, who has, of course, very publicly pushed for the closure of those power stations and now nominated 4 independent directors to the board?
Well, it was interesting. In that interview, Damien Nicks said that the environment in Australia has changed, particularly politically, and that's important because he says that as a result of a changing government, really it's changed even the, if you like, the atmosphere around climate in Australia and the targets that Australia will pursue into the future. But in the meantime, Mike Cannon-Brookes, who bought 11% of AGL, remember AGL's 185 years of age, it's Australia's biggest emitter, and so this is a significant announcement from the company today. He's already put up 4 independent directors to become directors of AGL, one of whom is here, Kerry Schott, and she was the former boss of IPART. John Polyers as another significant and senior investor and director around town. So these directors that Mike Cannon-Brookes has put up, as I understand it, found out today, have already signed pledges, and this has been actually pushed very vigorously by the current chair of AGL, that they will be independent of Mike Cannon-Brookes. So notwithstanding the fact that he is their nominees, they have pledged that they will be acting independently. And so the interesting part about this is to whether Mike Cannon-Brookes, even with 11% of the shares, has any form of control. For his business, Grok Ventures will have no nominees to the board that are beholden to him. So that's the interesting aspect of this particular corporate play that's coming out today.
Impeccable timing with the Optus breach and the Singtel representatives here for a pre-planned meeting. That Singtel, the owner of Optus, has broken its silence about the massive hack. Is it backing the chief executive, Kelly Bayer-Rosmarin?
That's right. So the statement came out today, and effectively it's a pretty bland statement, I will say. They effectively say we have extended our fullest support to Kelly and the Optus management team as they work to minimise inconvenience and risk to customers. They make the obvious statements that they're committed to the security of their customers' data, which is pretty important. But of course, this has now become a much bigger issue for Optus because the government quite clearly feels as though it has not necessarily had the full story told to it by Optus. The second aspect of this is the implications for data having been breached on such a wide scale is more than just Optus itself. It's to other institutions that people might have used that data to open up bank accounts or other financial instruments, including superannuation funds, to be honest. And so this is really where Optus has a lot of work to do to restore credibility in regards to this data breach. And Singtel, the opportune sort of, if you like, timing of their board meeting here in Australia this week means that they saw it all occur firsthand.
Yeah, not great viewing. Ross Greenwood, thank you. Appreciate that.